And Solomon in Proverbs said, Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so is. Thought alone is insufficient. Thought generates an electrical signal, but emotion is a magnetic component that gives your thought the power to attract, to create, and to materialize. Thought, emotion, when they come in alignment, they materialize what you're thinking. I'm even getting quickly ahead of me, but quickly later. The charge that gives your thought the power to attract, to create, to materialize. Thus, without emotional charge, your thought is simply a noise, like a radio transmitter without a signal. But when your thought and emotion align, as I show you, when what you are thinking and what you are feeling, because emotion is your feeling, what you are thinking and feeling are unified in the same frequency, you become a coherent broadcast. And the universe only responds to coherent broadcast. This is how we regain our cosmic sovereignty. Always keep in mind that you are made in the image and likeness of the divine creator. And this is not about something physical, such as our human shape, color, or face, or nail, or whatever. No, as they taught us. The image and likeness of the infinite creative intelligence is not a body. Are you ready for it now? Rather, it's consciousness itself. It is awareness. It is the capacity to hold a thought, charged with emotion, and watch it materialize into experience. That is what creation is all about. And that is what the divine creator, God, does. And that is what you and I do as well. You and I are creators who have simply forgotten that we are. So regain your cosmic sovereignty today. Welcome, welcome, welcome back, beautiful people of God. How are you today? Yes, you are tuning in to Mamlakak Broadcast Network, a platform designed to contrast the worldly fact with the kingdom through the original. Yes, we are the voice of the kingdom on the earth. Well, welcome back. And today we're going to be diving into a part 8B topic, Vatican top secret crack. This part 8 is actually included still in the series that has started in the beginning of this year, Awakening the Final Frontier. So I told you that we'll be going little by little. And today I stopped by to say hello first to you before I dive into the topic, to welcome you into the show, welcome your question, welcome your comment. Thank you very much for all the past comments. I've read it, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to even address one of the questions that someone tested me after I've done Vatican top secret crack part 8A. But prior for me to even go to the part B today, I will also first give you a recap or a summary of what I taught last time. Next, I'm going to quickly give a shout out for those who are see already in the room, or how you call it, in the green, or whatever you say. Those who are watching already in various platforms, I will shout out to them. And then I will quickly give you the diagram of what the topic will actually be discussing today. That being said, let me get to the recap. The last time I was here with you guys, I talked about Vatican top secret crack, which I entitled Part 8A. The Vatican and elite controller have systematically manipulated human spirituality for millennia. A veil of manufactured fear has hung over humanity for centuries. We were given a version of spirituality designed not to liberate us, but to control us. And that must stop. When the key to the kingdom within, hear me well, I'm not saying the key of the kingdom, but the key to the kingdom within was taken and replaced with external worship, with seeking of an external kingdom, a system of manipulation was born. It is a system that thrives on submission, on threat, and on keeping the truth locked away from the very people who deserve to know it. We, the people, we deserve to know the truth of our history. Our true history cannot be deleted. It can only be twisted or hidden. For generations, regular citizen or clergy looked to the skies and recorded extraordinary aerial phenomena because they lacked the vocabulary of the cosmos. They called them miracles. They called them angels or divine warning. But these were not mystical apparitions meant to reinforce the power of a priesthood. Rather, they were pieces of our true cosmic history sitting on paper's shelf. When I say paper shelf, that means on the Pope. Sealed behind the enigmatic walls of the Vatican, guarded by those shadow rulers who believe the world is not ready, or perhaps that they stand to lose too much if the truth gets out. That shadow controllers hold the records of our cosmic future, keeping humanity wandering, doubting, and wandering in the dark. Now, hear me, Vatican. Hear ye, shadow ruler behind the curtains. Your time is up, and it is now. The era of the grand illusion is over. We, the people, demand immediate ends of institutional consignment and return of our cosmic history records. No more secret. Before I continue, now I would like to take this time to answer a question that was asked last time by someone who texted me on my messenger. They say, when I touch on part 8A, why are you hammering the Vatican and the church? That person asks. And this is my answer, my simple answer to the person. Most issues humanity and society have faced are direct result of Vatican's keeping the truth about our cosmic origin in their vaults, while selling us lies and fabricated stories about human history. Honestly, Vatican is involved in a massive plus 2,000-year cover-up of hidden information. The time has come for we the people not only to demand it, but to know our true history. That is my simple answer to that question. So now allow me to give you a shout out to those who I see already here. Rumble Patriot True for MAGA on our Rumble channel. Lady Butterfly 461. My handsome husband, Brian Lawson. Queen Victoria, hello, hello, hello. How are you? How's Spain? I see Claudia, King Cherry, King Timothy, King Jefferson. Thank you very much for even commenting sometime. I see that. I see your comments on Facebook, and I usually respond to. Voir plus grand, Doreen from I think he's from Romania, Kim, Gabriela, Queen Aida, You are welcome and thank you for tuning in. With that, let's unpack today's topic, and you're going to be seeing what the topic will cover actually now on that slide that is going to pop up very shortly. Today, we will be talking about the greatest hidden secret historical cover-up, the 14, the Gnosis Code, and the spiritual sovereignty, the Watchman paradox, 616 change to 666, or number of the beast, the Antichrist, and the wrap-up, the final analysis and wrap-up. So that is what we are going to be discussing today. The greatest hidden secret historical cover-up. Vatican etymology is not what you think. First, we have been told Vatican is a symbol of Christianity. Really? Okay, let's go. Did anyone ask where this word comes from? We are today so used to the name that we had hardly think about how the Vatican got his name. So let's dig in on that first. The truth is that the name Vatican is neither Latin nor Greek, and it cannot be traced to the Bible either. I thought that it was Christian. Okay. Did you know that the word we associate with the church is closely linked to the Etruscan goddess Vatica? What is Etruscan Vatica, Veronique? I'm glad you asked that question. Yes, Etruscan literature and mythology may have been lost, but we know that the guardian of this necropolis was the Etruscan goddess Vatica. Some spell it Vatica, V-A-T-I-C-A. She was the goddess of the underworld. Vatican is the goddess of the underworld. Let that sink in. There is more. Father Stephen the Young described Nephilims as demonic hybrids who occupy position of authority in human society, and they are entirely real. Nephilims and UFOs are underground, the Vatican. But by the way, within the Vatican subterranean vault, it's not that we are being visited by the cosmos, but that we are the cosmos. This is huge difference, my friend. For 2,000 years, institutional religion has guarded a false horizon, a false belief. They built immense stone cathedral and told us to bow. They painted a singular distant savior on the ceiling of their basilicas, placing him perpetually out of reach. By turning the Christ into a historical monarch who will one day return on a physical cloud, they achieve a masterstroke of spiritual subjugation. You may ask now, how? By ensuring that billions of souls will spend their lives waiting for a rescue mission that was never meant to come from the outside. Truth cannot be buried forever. Reason why the seal of those purple shelves are cracking. Because the second coming was never a scheduling for those who say scheduling, a scheduling conflict on a calendar. It was a frequency threshold called the Christ field. Christ is not his surname, nor a title reserved exclusively to one person. Rather, Christ is a state of being, a frequency of consciousness, and an inner condition that Jesus demonstrates and pointed all of us to emulate the same. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Therefore, Christ is not returning as one man. Hear me. Christ is not returning as one man. Rather, he is returning as a field activation. Thus, the historical figure of Jesus was not a deity demanding worship, but a mirror key held up to the blind world. He was a prototype of the fully realized human, a single note singing the true frequency of the universe. What the shadow ruler feared the most was humanity would look into that mirror and recognize their own reflection. They knew that if the greed ever activated, if millions of individual souls realized that the kingdom was truly within and not located somewhere outside of them, the middleman would become immediately obsolete. Immediately. Jesus told the people that the kingdom of God was not in the temple. I know many people say, yeah, but we need to congregate. It was not in the temple, not mediated by priests or earned through ritual. What he carried, what Jesus carried into this world was nothing about religion, nothing about what the people doing on Sunday or Saturday or whatever day that you choose to. Nothing about that. In fact, he was explaining a precise and ancient understanding of energy, vibration, and consciousness. Reason why he traveled almost at every town. He was not fixed in one place, called the people to be there forever. But he went because certain town has certain ley line, certain city have certain ley line that the universal God places, and that people need to know that too. The Essene and Gnostic of his day understood his message and put it into practice. However, after the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, Rome and the Vatican twisted his message, placing emphasis on the literal observance while hiding the deeper meaning of his teaching that liberates. What if parables, miracles, and his statement about the Father and the kingdom were not to be taken religiously or literally, but instead they were precise map of inner reality? The vibrational science dressed in the language of a first century carpenter. What if the kingdom of heaven is a measurable state of consciousness while within each person, and is so elevated and so coherent and existed beyond the reach of fear, of limitation, and death? And the light he spoke of was a literal frequency. Light is frequency. Light is energy. What if faith was never belief at all? Rather about the electromagnetic alignment within your own body with the reality you were calling to existence. The electro alignment within your own body is the reality you call into existence. And the Father he often spoke or often refers to is not a man on a throne. Rather, is an infinite underlying intelligence field from which all vibration originates, and within which everything that existed is perpetually held. No wonder why Vatican hid our true origin or true history, that we are the cosmos, because when you see all of that, you understand that the Father that Jesus referred to is an infinite underlying intelligence field from which all vibration originates, and within which everything that existed is perpetually held. Everything is energy vibrating into a field. Conversely, the Vatican walls cannot contain a revolution that happens inside the human heart. When the fields ignited, the curtains fell, the secrets dissolved, and the age of process soul is officially over. For those of you just joining the stream now, we are discussing Vatican top secret crack part 8B. I dealt with part 8A last time I was here with you. So thank you for tuning in. Let's continue to the session. The Vatican secret archives do not just hold ancient volume. They contain the suppressed physics of the soul, of our soul. For decades, shadow groups have known what modern quantum mechanics is only beginning to whisper. Consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but a fundamental field that weaves the universe together. Everything in this universe has consciousness in it. Whether it's a plant, an animal, everything you see. Did you know that our real identity is a field energy, and our body only broadcasts that field energy? I'll give you an example. If you are happy, your body broadcasts happiness or happy field energy. If you're sad, your body will broadcast a sad field energy. By hiding this science, they kept humanity trapped in a dense material illusion. They wanted us to believe we were isolated, fragile biological machines, entirely disconnected from the environment, the cosmos, and each other. Now, many of us understand that that everything is spiritual and everything is connected and everything is energy. How about that? That's great. That's great when you understand that everything is spiritual, everything is connected, and everything is energy. Now, that gives me a time to go into my point, my point number 2, which is Cathars. The Cathars, C-A-T-H-A-R-S, not Qatar, the country. Cathars or Cathars, C-A-T-H-A-R-S. There is a recovery of a 13th century transcript of an inquisitorial interrogation that reclaimed from the ruin of Mount Sigil, which was the final stronghold of the Cathars. Speak volume, and I'm going to read a little bit of a quote right here. The word of Cathars Perfudus named Guillaume Bellibaste before he was marched into the flames. End quote. We do not bow to your God of clay and blood, Guillaume had told his torturer. Your Pope rules a prison in his own making. The true Christ is a living stream, a light field woven through the fabric of the firmament. When we gather in Collesolamentum, we do not pray, we entrain, we become the mirror, we become the net. End the quote. What was Guillaume saying by those above words? And to whom was he saying that? He was saying that to the Vatican. He was saying that to those people who were trying to erase the true history, who tried to hide. He was simply describing quantum phase locking, meaning shifting from from speaking to God to tuning your energy with God living inside of you. The Vatican didn't want you and I to know that. So what they did, the Inquisitor had not burned the cartels because of theological disagreement about the Trinity, as we were told. Because that's what the history said, that they burned them because they had a disagreement with the Trinity. That's false. In reality, they burned them because the cartels were successfully building a decentralized mind-spirit network or consciousness community. They were acting as a biological resonance nodes, attempting to anchor the Christ frequency directly into the Earth Morphe field. Thank you, the cartels. Thank you very much, my producer, for that. If the cartels network had reached a critical mass, the hierarchical structure of a medieval church and the shadow rulers pulling its string from behind the tapestry would have collapsed like a house of cards. The reason why the Vatican launched a literal crusade inside Europe, slaughtering over 20,000 people in the 13th century in Bièze and Montségur, France, was solely to dismantle a human quantum grid. And there is more. What they did next was place limit on us by using belief system to program and control us. My friend, as I told you, Vatican is not a church and does not serve the divine creator. Their works and action did not clearly who they serve. The underworld, you know why in the underworld, right? So that now caused me to move into my next point, which is the Gnostic code and spiritual sovereignty. Just as a side note, I would like to quickly tell you what Gnosis actually really means. Gnosis means divine revelatory knowledge. It also means direct, unmediated recognition of what you are actually. Not necessarily about information about God, but about the divine, the immediate undeniable experience of a being, the awareness that underlies all experience. Thank you, my producer, for putting that point out. We are on that exactly, Gnosis and the spiritual code. What about the 5 waves, those Gnosis of the 2nd century? I'm glad you asked that. These early mystics possess a sophisticated, esoteric with an S, understanding of reality that mirror modern physics. They didn't view the material world as holy. They view it as a matrix. You hear the word now coming. We've been talking about the matrix. They view the material as the kinoma, K-E-N-O-M-A. matrix, or the kinoma, Kenoma, which is a realm of separation, of spiritual prison, a shadowy limitation of the divine world that cuts off human from true spiritual reality. Kinoma, or the matrix, is an artificial low frequency density created by an entity called the demiurge. A demiurge is a lesser god who mistakenly believes he is the supreme ruler. All right. During the 2nd century, Gnostic teachers sought to awaken humanity from the illusion of the kinoma, the material world. They revealed that buried within every human soul lies a spiritual spark, a divine, localized fragment of the ultimate unified source. Through divine revelatory knowledge or direct experience knowledge, the soul awakens to its true identity and successfully breaks free from the physical prison of the kinoma and returns to the fullness of true home, or the pleroma, which is the exact birthplace of the divine spark, currently trapped inside each human body in the physical world. Each person in the physical world has the true home, or the pleroma, inside. So they knew exactly what they were doing when they tried to bring about the matrix and put everybody in the matrix, and so that we could forget ourselves, so that we could forget about our spirituality, true nature. They also understood that the historical Jesus was not a sacrifice to appease of a rightful deity. I'm talking about Gnosis, who understood that the historical Jesus was not a sacrifice to appease a rightful deity, but it gets even deeper here, but an emissary from outside the matrix, outside the kinoma, who smuggled the upgrade code into the system. His miracle were simply a demonstration of consciousness operating outside the localized laws of the lower frequency. You see, my friend, the Gnostics perfectly understood the internal cosmic spark we are. No wonder why Constantine banned their divine revelatory knowledge to keep human in low frequency loop. And it goes deeper. When Emperor Constantine consolidated the Roman Church, or the people call Roman Catholic Church, at the Council of Nicaea, his primary goal was to weaponize the Gnostic narrative. And you may ask why. The Gnostic texts were hunted down, buried in the sand of Egypt at Nag Hammadi, or incinerated. Some of them were incinerated, but they got some fragments that survived. The internal cosmic spark was rewritten as external sin. This is what Constantine did. Constantine rewrote the internal cosmic spark as the external sin. The empowering truth of a human divinity was replaced with a loop of guilt and fear. The exact low vibrational frequency required to keep the global grid incoherent. My friend, as long as people do not understand this, the shadow rulers keep power over them. They are only threatened when we understand the encode signal in the field activation. Because when the collective awakens, the power of humanity is shattered. Now, let's talk about the watchman paradox. And this is going to explain exactly what Constantine and his minion did, and what this guy, which I altered the name for privacy, will work at the Vatican and will find things. Let's go. Father Thomas Stone, name is Arthur for privacy's sake, record a scene where he stood in the shadow of the marble pillar on San Clemente Basilica, his hand resting on the hidden holster of his cloak 19. As a senior operative for the Sodalitium Pianum, or the Vatican Shadow Security Services, raised by the church, trained in black operation, warfare, and counterintelligence and intelligence apparatus. He was a pay to see everything and say nothing. Wow. Can you imagine that? They just pay you to see everything and say nothing. For 15 years, Thomas had been a loyal soldier of the shadow state. His job was to suppress leaks, neutralize whistleblower, and protect the Holy See deepest secret. But everything changed 2 years ago for Thomas, when he was assigned to the inventory, the chamber of the unnamed, a deep subterranean vault hidden even from the Pope himself. There, tucked away in an ivory chest dating back to the reign of Constantine, he read the epistle of the mirror. The epistle of the mirror. He read it. It wasn't a religious text. It was a manual on how the human nervous system could entrain with the cosmos. My friend, do not forget that Vatican successfully suppressed the mathematical of a revolution for 1800 years. Let that sink in. For 1,800 years, Vatican suppressed the mathematical of revolution, the mathematics of revolution. That's pure evil. Father Thomas had a choice. He could step out of the shadows, fulfill his oath by having erased the existence of such book, or he could execute the plan he has been secretly preparing ever since he realized that the Christ he has sworn to serve wasn't a man in history, but a dormant frequency inside his own chest. At that moment, he realized fear was the enemy. Fear was the carrier wave the shadow rulers used to jam the human signal. So he needed to tune into something higher. His blind faith shifted from the controlled institutional church to the true cosmic Christ within him. He must choose to betray everything he knows to save humanity's future. What did he do? He became a node. Namely, he became a conductor of light, an interconnected broadcasting center, thus passing that information on to the rest of the collective, which is why I have one of that today too. When you do your research, you will find this. Remember, the Gnostic parchment did not only contain theological arguments. It contained a mathematical bridge between first century Gnosticism and 21st century quantum mechanics. Written in a highly unusual hybrid of Greek alphanumerical code and geometric notation, the formula was labeled the accord of the spark. That was the formula they gave to the accord of the spark. For instance, the Christ field, which is the constant of unifying cosmic sovereignty, represents the ultimate non-local quantum field where all matter is entangled and all separation is revealed to be holographic illusion. Everything entangled, no separation. Moreover, it is important to note that St. Clement Basilica is built 3 levels below the modern street today, deep within the 3rd century Roman Mitrium. This ancient pagan temple sat directly atop an intersection of tectonic fault lines, known as a natural geographic amplifier for electromagnetic waves. Almost every city has such, the tectonic lines or geographic amplifier of electromagnetic waves. There is an ancient stone altar, which is a tectonic node known as Vatican's frequency transponders. And they use it to emit low frequency that broadcasts fear-guilt separation, thus jamming human neutron networks and prevent collective phase locking. This low frequency pulse at exact 9.7 Hz. It is a sub-audible tone transmitted via satellite arrays and cellular tower, masked as religious broadcasting relays. The frequency was designed to mimic chronic biologic stress, distress, a subtle persistent background noise that kept the human amygdala in a permanent state of fight or flight loop. As long as the global grid home a 9.7 Hz, humanity remained compliant, isolated, and predictable. This is pure evil, Vatican. And now here's the kicker. The next point that I'm going to be talking about is changing the 616 number to 6.666. And this one, I give a shout out to Sean Clayton, who actually dived deep into that one in one of the postcards he did. Thank you, Sean, for really opening the eyes of people on that one. 616 was actually the number of the beast John the Revelator saw. And the beast he was referring to was Emperor Nero in his day. When Constantine altered the word of God, he changed it from 616 to 666 and caused it to be labeled as the Antichrist number. Well, as I say, Sean, this is what Sean discovered. Sean Clayton, he went back into the Aramaic and the Hebrew of those numbers, and the Hebrew meaning of 666 or 6 plus 6 plus 6 equal 18, which is the number of life, which means life. And Hebrew or Aramaic means life. 18 or 1 8 is 9, life. And using the lens of the Fibonacci sequences, 666 means 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. And human beings are made up of those elements. We all human beings are made up of 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. 6 protons, neutrons, and electrons. Life and the kingdom of God within. Life and the kingdom of God within. So if you read 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18, 1 plus 8 equals 9, and 9 is the number of consciousness. So 6 protons, 6, neutrons 6, and electrons 6 perfectly outline the exact composition of the most common and stable form of carbon, which is the foundational building block of life. You could Google it and you will see it perfectly true. Yet we were taught and believed that 666 is the number of the Antichrist. So we shy away from it. We shy away from ourselves. We shy away from life. And people who are in the know have been using that. Google 666 number. Check all those symbolism out there with the 666. They know exactly what we're doing. And we believers say, oh, Antichrist. Oh no, those people are Antichrist. Shy away from them, run away from them. Big lies. See how they cause us to shy away from what is inside of us and externalize our power. What this actually means is they wanted us to shy away from our true life and identity. We are cosmic. We are the cosmos. We are the cosmos that was found under the paper shelves. We are the cosmos. They hide that information from us. Now, in final analysis and wrap up, now that you understand Vatican, and it's not what you thought or think of or what you may made of, and also the 666 is not the number of Antichrist as they cause us to believe. The shadow ruler's job behind it is clearly to suppress and jam human neural networks that reduces humanity to slave using low frequency density created by demiurge. Nonetheless, I am here to reiterate Psalm 82:10 in the word of Yeshua when he said it. And divine law cannot be broken. So in my wrapping up today of the Vatican, the hidden secret crack part 8b, which is the final part of the Vatican secret, this is how we regain our cosmic sovereignty. Always keep in mind that you are made in the image and likeness of the divine creator. And this is not about something physical, such as our human shape, color, or face, or nail, or whatever. No, as they taught us. The image and likeness of the infinite creative intelligence is not a body. Are you ready for it now? Rather, it's consciousness itself. It is awareness. It is the capacity to hold a thought, charged with emotion, and watch it materialize into experience. That is what creation is all about. And that is what the divine creator God does. And that is what you and I do as well. You and I are creators who have simply forgotten that we are. So regain your cosmic sovereignty today. In addition, the mechanism of being made in the image and likeness of the divine is to possess the same fundamental nature, the core attribute, the capacity to generate reality through focused inner intention. Because every thought we hold, every emotion we sustain, and every belief we carry in our body, such as the low hum, these are not passive response to the world. They are actually forces shaping it. Jesus embodied it and understood it, which is why he said, be it done according to your faith. According to the thought, he was saying, according to the thought and emotion you hold inside of yourself, thus describing a precise inner mechanism, a science that theology cancel. And Solomon in Proverbs said, Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so is. Thought alone is insufficient. Thought generates an electrical signal, but emotion is a magnetic component that gives your thought the power to attract, to create, and to materialize. Thought, emotion, when they come in alignment, they materialize what you're thinking. I'm even getting quickly ahead of me, but quickly later. The charge that gives your thought the power to attract, to create, to materialize. Thus, without emotional charge, your thought is simply a noise, like a radio transmitter without a signal. But when your thought and emotion align, as I show you, when what you are thinking and what you are feeling, because emotion is your feeling, what you are thinking and feeling are unified in the same frequency, you become a coherent broadcast. And the universe only responds to coherent broadcast. Ultimately, to Jesus, faith is the inner state in which the reality you were calling forward is already read to you before any external evidence appears. It was never a mental exercise, rather a full body vibrational alignment with the reality you were calling into being. In other words, Jesus was saying your emotional state is your prayer, because that is what the universal response to, your emotional state. Not the way you recite, not the posture you assume, rather the frequency living inside you. You emit moment by moment. Is the creative force shaping your experience every single day. And this teaching was dangerous to the control greed. And now you have it. And now you can embody it. Now you could ponder upon it and see exactly that you can create. So, and this marks the end of part 8B. The Vatican hid the secret crack from the series of The Awakening, the Final Frontier. Like and share this teaching and follow us on our various platforms. I trust that this teaching inspired you. I trust that this was something that can cause you to want to go make some research more, or want to become or embody your cosmic sovereignty. Remember that you are made of protons, electrons, and neutrons. You are cosmic. We are cosmic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again. And until I see you, please share. Signing off. Bye-bye.